I remember I was crossing Pineville by the evening,
Did you stay in Boulder?
but no,
Oh no,
I
you.
passed. I slept
Oh no, you.
basin somewhere in the bushes.
Of course you did.
That was before these times when everybody sleeps inside and
Yeah, it takes nothing.
bushes. It's different time. Like this is different game now. It looks like holidays. What Victor's doing, it looks like holidays. Like you sleep inside, you just get in the bike, eat the breakfast in
World
the
tour holidays. World tour holidays.
World tour, exactly. So you're just on the pedals all day long, eating, drinking, get back, shower, maybe get a massage, even if it's a town where the massages are available, and just rock on in the morning, fresh kid on, baby, and then you're flying for another 400k, put another 400k in a box, and it's just like ridiculous. So yeah, maybe I need to try this again.
Well, I think that's probably a good time to actually start the podcast. So I'm going to introduce it, seeing as Justinas has been going on for ages anyway. So welcome to
Hello.
Ultrascape podcast. What are we, episode 7 now? As you might have gathered already, he needs no introduction. Justinas Leveika, welcome back.
Hello.
And as you probably gathered as well, we're going to be talking about the Tour Divide that's going on at the moment. And yeah, well, people are flying, aren't they? It's a fast year so far. And yeah. So yeah, joined by Justinas and of course Beccy. Hi Beccy, how are you today?
Hello, you beautiful people.
So yeah, so we're going to be running through the Tour Divide, and yeah, we'll have a little look at some of the ongoing records as well. Before we get to that, though, we've obviously, you know already, we've got sponsors to make this happen. So a big thank you to Redshift. They've been sponsoring my daily updates on the Tour Divide, and they sponsor the podcast. You know, probably by now, all the great products they do. So yeah, big shout out to Redshift. Got a little discount code on screen, and today's episode sponsor is Albion Cycling. As modelled by Justinas, probably one of the more famous Albion. Oh, and Beccy. Oh, and me as well, actually. So we've all got Albion on today. Well, Justinas is one of the more recognisable of Albion's supported riders. So yeah, big
So
shout
are
out to
you,
Albion.
by the way.
Not as much as you, though. You win more races. I just have to talk nonsense. But anyway, Albion is supporting this. We got, I think it's 15% discount code. So I'll put the link up on screen. And a big thank you to those guys. And oh yeah, nice hat, by the way, Justinas.
By the way, if you can't see.
We got the Ultrascape caps as well. As modelled by Justinas. Justinas is the model on the website, if you hadn't have figured already. So yeah, check those out as well if you want to support the pod. So should we crack on?
Yeah, we'll spend most of the episode talking about Tour Divide, but I thought we'd provide a few updates on the 2 records that we talked about last week. So starting with Lael, as she rides around the world faster. She's on her fully supported record attempt at the moment, going for the overall record. So tackling Mark Beaumont's time. She is, how many days in is she?
5, I think it was.
5
and
days
maybe
in.
on 6 now.
It
so
feels like she's been on
Europe.
for a couple of weeks already. I've seen so much of it on her Instagram. So she's 5 days in. She's done just over 2,000 miles, and she's had a flight as well. She's started in the US, rode a bit through Canada, and now she's on her European leg. So she arrived in Lisbon, I think yesterday. She's been in Portugal for 207 miles to be precise. And she is currently behind the record, but it's really hard to compare with Mark's record given I'm on a very different route. And I don't know if Mark's dot is moving at just a flat average speed or if it's his actual kind of movement, including stops. So
yeah, and it's early days as well. And I think, did Mark start in Europe, didn't he?
Yeah,
he started in Paris. I think he started in Paris, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so I think until Lael's kind of a lot further in, it's hard to kind of directly compare. But it looks like it's been a tough start. I mean, Justinas, you know Lael, it's not better than most. Can you tell us anything about the sort of the start of it?
But another thing, like I think when she planned it, she had like, if she would do all these miles in a day, like what she's she has planned. So she would have finished in like 77 days or like 76. So I think she has some time to her hand, and this flight, transatlantic flight, I always find them way harder flying back from US to Europe. So
The
you
worst.
get this jet lag. So yeah, so but it's what would you say in the divide, like after the day or two, that you still have like 10 days left, right? She's been riding for 5 days, so she still has at least 70 left. So things can change, and you can get back on the move. And if Lel can, if someone can turn it around, so that's she. So I still think it's too early to say anything, and she can.
Exactly. She just needs
Yes.
to get in the rhythm, really, doesn't she? And it seems like, I mean, like Becky said, that she seems to have been all over Instagram non-stop, and I'm sure there's a lot of pressure, and it's pretty high profile attempt, isn't it? And there's lots of sponsors and pressure from that as well. So I think probably it's just probably good for Lau to get into Europe and just be away from like the States where a lot of her big sponsors are from, and just get away from the spotlight a little bit, and just get into it and settle down. So yeah, like I say, hopefully we'll see her sort of making some progress and getting in the rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, if anyone's watching uh the videos on her Instagram, which are brilliant, Rue's putting them out every day. She's doing really, 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 really well. But I did think Lael is probably one of the most positive and optimistic racers that gets followed around, and even she was starting to look a little worn down. You don't see many chinks in her armor, and I think we are seeing one. And it's, given that we're only 5 days in, it did. I wouldn't say it worried me, but it did make me think this is perhaps harder than it's harder for her than we were expecting it to be.
But
Well, the lead up and everything to the preparation to get the funds and everything, they were working super hard to get that, to just get off the line. So that was a challenge in itself. Like, and then now to get back on the bike, like on one hand, it's the easy part because now all she has to do is to ride her bike. But also, you have this pressure. So I think, yeah, if she knows that there's many days to turn this around, but also you don't want to be behind from the start, and that can also cause you some thoughts, or get to some dark clouds. But I'm also sure that she has a good team around her, so they can get those clouds around away, and make her back on the good path and positive.
Well, let's hope so. And yeah, we're keeping an eye on Lael's Dot, and yeah, we'll have another update in the next episode. So the other record attempt, well, it's almost getting towards the end now, Becky, isn't it? Is the Sarah Ruggins attempt?
Yeah, Sarah Ruggins is on her one-way north, so that's Europe from south to north, and she's now 5,400 kilometers in. She's in Finland at the moment, so she's approaching the finish. She's only 600 kilometers from Nordkap, and she is currently 1,000 kilometers ahead of Ian's record. So, on all accounts, she's smashing it.
Yeah.
But in contrast, actually, there's stuff on her social media, because she's also supported and she has a team that are kind of putting out content. In contrast, they're quite open with how hard she's finding it. I think the flat roads in Finland, the flat straight roads through some of the forests
Lithuania. She also rode through there, yeah. So it's good to see.
And I think she was saying it's just not that. It's quite monotonous, which is quite hard for her. So, and there's something like it's one of the hardest days she's ever had on the bike. And I felt like that was just, it all felt quite true. They're being quite honest.
Yeah, I've experienced similar in the north of the US when I was just touring, and just like Minnesota and those places, and all you can see for days on end is trees, and a road through the trees, and it's hard mentally. And I think that's well, I mean, for probably most people listening realize that the physical element of these ultra races and records is only part of it, and quite often it's the mental element that is key. And yeah, staring down a road through the trees non-stop there's no
It's not.
change. It's difficult, isn't it?
It's also not really something you can train for in the UK. Like the UK is many things, but it's quite ever changing.
Yeah.
The landscape. So I suppose you don't really have to like zone in your own mind too much in the UK. There's enough around you that's changing to keep you occupied.
And you also realise too, when you look at the map, I mean, I've got it up in front of me now on Follow My Challenge, and there's a lot of change in the first part of the race, and then you get to Finland, and you're in Finland for a long time. You know, that's a good percentage of the actual whole route, and nothing much changes there at all, does it, in terms of terrain? So yeah, it's looking like she's having, well, you say she's having a tough time, but she still is absolutely flying. You know, like 1,000 k ahead is ridiculous. Just under 600 kilometers left, so I'd imagine that's probably going to be a couple of days, isn't it? She did 371k in the last 24 hours. So I'd imagine the next 2 days or so, she will be finishing and taking that record by the look of it. So yeah, really good to follow Sarah and her progress there. So I suppose we need to talk about Tour Divide now. Do you want to give us a quick overall summary, Becky?
Yeah, well, the main thing is that Victor's absolutely smashing it. Victor Bassoni, who was one of our favourites, one of everyone's favourites, I think, has currently put in a 250-mile gap into. There's a couple of riders sitting between second and fourth or second and fifth, and 250 miles is about a day's ride. So he's a day ahead of anyone else behind him.
150, not 250 yet. It might be by the end, but at the moment it's 150.
Justinas, I think yeah, you are right. Yeah, fuck my maths there, haven't I? He's 18 hours ahead. That's
but
what
either
I
way,
mean.
That's a big gap. It's a big gap in a relatively short amount of time, isn't it?
And as I said, by the end of the race, it might be 250 miles. So.
Yeah, he is absolutely flying. Although I think it's fair to say overall it's been a very quick year. So Megan Hakkinen, I think she's doing a hell of a ride as well. She's flying. She's 7th overall, and she's 6 hours up on her own FKT record, but ahead of like the outright women's record as well. And yeah, she's up with so on track leaders. They normally show the historical dots. They've got Mike Hall's 2016 historical dot on there, and she's not, well, she's dropped off a little bit, but when I checked last night, she was bang on Mike Hall's record pace, which was the one that everyone was chasing. Well, even you, Justinas, were chasing for years and years and years, and Megan's smashing it. So yeah, that's really great to see. And yeah, I mean, just a fast year, isn't it? I think so far. What's your take on that, Justinas?
Well, yeah, because Megan been there also in 2024, so we rode together there, as together with Lorenz, and Lorenz has his tracking site, and he has his dot there, so you can compare like his times, and it's easy to compare Megan's time with her previous attempt. So you see, they both are up by quite some. So it's. The only thing I've seen so far, there was a bit of snow on the Richmond Pass, and there's some fall down on the Lava Mountain. That's basically the only hinders that they had so far.
It seems pretty clear. I mean, it was a bit wet in the first day or so, wasn't it? But sounds like it wasn't too bad. I think I got a voice note from Alex McCormick, and he was saying, yes, it's kind of wet on the surface, so they were getting caked and sprayed with muddy water essentially, but there wasn't any peanut butter or anything like that, so it's still relatively fast rolling.
Canada, like you're not afraid of rain in Canada. It's like the south and around before Colorado and that those are the places where it turns into peanut butter shit.
Yeah, and the basin. I mean, you've had the experience in the basin, haven't you, Justinas? The famous porta potty incident when you got stuck.
I've been stuck there, for like 13 hours. So
it's looking good though, isn't it, this year? I mean, so far there's not really any sign of rain, and it's been dry. I mean, aside from those first couple of days, it's been basically dry, and I think the wind's been fairly favourable as well, and it's showing. I mean, really fast all round, and currently Victor he's ahead of Robin's kind of sort of unofficial record time from last year, which I mean, it's crazy to think, isn't it? Really.
Mm.
What's your take on that, Justinas, about sort of the speed
It's
Victor's
just,
going and the way he's
it's
riding?
just, as I said, as I said in the beginning, I don't know if it's gonna be used against me, what I've said in the beginning, but yeah, like looks like it's a holiday zone. It's riding all day, sleeping all night, and basically that's what he's doing, sleeping inside, getting yeah proper warm bed, and the sleep is not equal sleep, you know. So if you sleep in a dirt side and in a cold and inside on the bed, so the recovery is not the same from 30 minute or like I don't know 5 hour sleep outside is not the same as 5 hour sleep inside. So he's picking everything what possibly can be picked, right? So he's not putting his foot wrong way anywhere. So if the weather
If
god stays, well, we'll see a fast time with it.
mm,
Yeah, I think
if
that's guaranteed, isn't it? Almost.
yeah. When you look at the race flow, you can see that he has stopped for almost the exact time of darkness, and it's almost
Mm,
like someone has dropped a hotel in front of him at the exact point that he would want to stop, and then they take it
mm,
away at sunrise again. It's so
mm.
metronomic, and how easy is it on the Tour de Vie to get hotel stays that
It's,
regularly? Would you
it's not.
really?
You've
It's
got to
not
ride at 11-day
easy.
pace, basically. I think Robin did the
Yeah.
same last year. I don't think Robin slept outside last year, and I
Mm,
think we're seeing now. I mean, this pace is well, it's perfect divide pace, really, isn't it? And the
Mm.
faster you go, the easier it is to cover those gaps and cover the big gaps
exactly.
to
And I
resupply.
guess also Victor knows exactly where he needs to get to that night.
Mm,
So
It's following
he's
Robin,
not riding
basically, I
until he's
think.
tired. He knows where he's going, and that's quite an incentive
yeah.
as well.
And we've seen that in all his racing, really. I mean, he's not. I think we are seeing a change in the world of racing. I mean, it's been getting faster over the years, and Justinas has been, part of that. You look back to kind of the years when Sofian was winning, and then guys like Justinas and Uber pushed it up a notch. But guys like Victor, what is he, like 24, 25? And he's never slept in the dirt on a ultra race, or not much. I know he's come into it with the mindset that you stay inside whenever you can. His TCR wins. I remember when I first did it, 2014. I don't think I slept inside. I just slept in a bivy bag for like nearly 10 days. Even when I won it, I think I slept 3 nights out of 9 outside. But you don't see that now. Victor,
No.
won PCR and he slept inside every night. Even Atlas, he slept inside every night. He even goes off route when he needs to find somewhere to sleep.
Exactly.
Mm.
And that's big, and that's exactly a change that's been happening, you know. So the only thing, Becky, what you said that can hinder this is like weather. You can have
Mm.
a plan, you know, and like I know how slow it is to move through a peanut butter mud, and nobody gonna put the hotel in front of you. Like if there's a stretch that's like I don't know, even 30K, right? It doesn't sound like much, but if you're moving 2 kilometers an hour, that's some hours, and that can hinder you from getting
And
to your designated place. But as for now, you know, there hasn't been anything like this to stop you. So the plan that he has, he's just executing it 100% and flying. So it's interesting to see, you know, what's possible. Like he's basically showing what's possible,
Mm.
like how fast you can be moving.
yeah, I feel though that so far, I mean, he's relatively young, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sort of like, put him down, but he's not had that real test. He's not been stuck in the mud. He's not, been stuck in the middle of nowhere where there is no kind of, resupply and things like that.
Mm.
But it's partly because of his own doing as well, because he's so strong, and he
Mm.
can ride himself
I
out of those situations. But one
I
day, I
don't know
think the test will be when he gets stuck or caught.
what exactly was the reason he scratched from Unbound. Was it just mud, or did he got
Well,
any technical?
I was chatting to Alex beforehand, Alex McCormack, who was third Unbound, and they went into the first mud section together, and he said, I just turned around and he was gone. So I don't know whether he
Oh.
filled up with mud. I think he was on the same bike, so the clearance probably isn't fantastic. I don't know whether he broke anything or whether he just kind of didn't want to do it, or decided that it wasn't for him
So,
ahead of Tour Divide, which
mm,
might have been sensible given that Alex has had to kind of slow down. So yeah, I mean, for me, I thought beforehand with Victor that we know he's incredibly strong, and I wasn't expecting it necessarily to be quite as straightforward as it was last year for Robin. Robin had perfect conditions, and essentially it's been the same again so far. I was wondering if what bad conditions might do to Victor, because he's not really had to deal with it yet, and
What are
that's
the
experience, isn't it?
what are the bad conditions that he could see now? Because he passed the bits that could be snowy.
hmm.
Snow's not an issue, really, is it? I
Snow's
mean,
not an issue.
Colorado's been really. I think they've had drought, haven't they, in Colorado?
You,
So there's not much high.
Snow was an issue, like 24, because the snow laid during the night when the temps were down, so the snow actually stayed on the road. And in the morning, when the sun came out, the snow started melting, and that was the same as the rain, and it was peanut butter shit. So I was pushing my bike for some hours after Lima because I was there quite early in the morning, and Old Bannock Road, the pass, that one also was not exactly fast. So,
Yeah.
One of the
so,
classic
so
match points, isn't it?
yeah.
If he's just gone south of Boulder at the moment. Would you be expecting the biggest kind of condition, the biggest worries to be fiery routes and peanut butter mud now?
Hmm.
Pretty
He's
much.
done
Yeah.
with the snow, definitely. So
Yeah.
it's not gonna snow more. And Colorado gravel is not that bad. Like it's also well draining quite well. But there are storms in Colorado that form quickly, especially up in the mountains. So that might also give him some trouble. But apart from that, yeah, it's
With the
fire.
buffer he's got, though, I mean, it's got such a big gap. He can afford to, have an extra
Sleep.
6 hours sleep if he wanted, and
Yeah,
he's still
yeah,
he's still way ahead. So it's looking
exactly.
pretty good for Victor, barring mechanical problems on his bike or injury. I find it
I think
very difficult
now
to see.
he's only racing Robin, right? He's not looking
Yeah.
like he doesn't care probably about who's behind him at all. Like
Well,
he
there's no
has
one
his
else
shit
to race, is there?
together.
Let's face it.
No. So now and soon Robin's gonna be also so far behind, or the virtual Robin, that yeah, uh, that can be also, it can be a test in itself, when you have no one chasing you and you are on like day 7 or 8, the motivation also can start to, like, you can have the why coming to you way stronger and louder. Why are you pushing? Why are you doing this, and why do you need this? But at the moment, he looks very determined and strong.
Mm. Well, he's a young guy, isn't he? And I think he's got a point to prove. Wants to win big
That too.
races, and he is. I mean, he just looks fast, doesn't he? I mean, should we talk a bit about his bike and kit and stuff, because he's basically gone full world tour, isn't he? He's got the skin suit, he's got the bladder down the back. I mean, he wouldn't look out of place in Unbound, and I do think that probably that is helping these high speeds as well. And the faster you go, the more benefit you get from the aero stuff. And he's going
And
fast. So things like
not only bladder down back, down front too. He's
exactly.
he's a proper made a fairing of himself. So he's, yeah, and then he can sustain that air position, and the terrain now, there's gonna be some pavement, and the gravel looks solid too. So yeah.
It's hard to see him slowing down. I mean, I did have my doubts about the bike. He's on that Factor, what is it, Serrana, which is
Mm,
essentially kind of like it's similar to the Salsa Cutthroat, which was the Tour Divide bike of choice, with kind of
mm.
rigid forks with some flex in, I think, and stays with some flex. I did wonder if, having ridden rode the Mason ISO, which is kind of a steel version of the same thing, back in 2019, and I was just getting battered on the long descents in Colorado.
Mm.
I did wonder if that might be a factor, but
Mm.
no pun intended there.
Well,
But
yeah.
he's got such a big gap. I don't think it matters. He can afford to slow down.
The other thing there's so even the roads are well or good, but the do you remember the washboards? I remember
Yeah.
them very well before Del Norte.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my God, that's been like I don't know how many miles on that. So
And
and
you were on
that
full
on the
thrust, weren't you?
I wasn't a full sus, and I still felt it. So
I mean, I do
I
wonder
mean,
with Victor. I mean, not trying to like pick holes in what he's doing because he's obviously flying and the bike's working for him. But I would have thought at least that bike can run a suspension fork, like even a 50 mil gravel one.
mm,
I do
He
wonder
has
if that would have been
he
good.
has got a suspension fork, no?
He's rigid, I think, fully
rigid
rigid.
as from what I've seen, it was fully rigid.
Yeah, from the photos I've seen, is rigid up front. I mean, I think there's takes a bit of buzz out, but yeah, it's got like aero bars and stem like a one piece, so that's going to be fairly stiff and
Mm,
fairly deep wheels. So yeah, I do. That is the one question mark
and
I had about that
and
was that, but it doesn't matter
yeah,
now with that gap, does it? Let's face
yeah.
it.
And the other thing is like he's gonna be facing the long climbs now soonish. He's gonna arrive to Colorado and stuff. And what does he have up front? 40? 40
40 or
tooth
something.
chain ring?
Yeah. I mean, the guy's 65 kilos, so like no one's going to ride uphill faster than him. And when you've got a 40 tooth chain ring and you push it on the climbs, you're just going to end up climbing faster.
Yeah,
I
but
find it
your
hard to see him
knees
getting caught.
and your Achilles is yeah, it's incredible what a 24-year-old body can sustain.
Well, I was going to say that. Yeah, I mean, I can't do that now. maybe
I
maybe
I
we should
I
get Lawrence
couldn't
on to talk about that. But
I couldn't think about that, but probably Lawrence would be the good person to say to comment.
yeah, but I remember what I did when I was, well, not even Victor's age. I think when I first did TCR, I was 26, and some of the dumb stuff I did then, I just didn't care. So I imagine like Victor's got that, that kind of, I guess, inexperience in a way, but it's good because you just don't give a shit, do you? You just
You don't give a shit,
and
exactly.
your body responds and recovers, and
Mm,
you don't have to worry about waking up with a bad back in the morning because it just doesn't happen. But I remember getting to
no.
like 28, 29, and suddenly I couldn't walk because I had such a bad back. I'd start doing yoga. So yeah, Victor, if you're listening, make the most of it while you can because
Yeah,
it's gonna get
exactly.
you.
Stretching, what the fuck is that? I never did it.
Do you do it now?
Yes, I
No. He does.
no, but yeah, with all seriousness, so it's different. But
Yeah.
the guys behind, should we talk about
They're
so
all
yeah,
flying.
you mentioned Alex a couple of times, so he's now on a not exactly party pace, but how did he describe that? It was like
He's not,
casual.
yeah, casual. I think basically he's decided not to race. So I think, well, he dropped off race pace. So essentially, that means I think he'll probably be sleeping 6, 7 hours a night and probably still riding hard. I don't think. Well, it will slow him down a little bit, but Alex is super talented. I mean, we all know that.
Mm,
I was thinking Alex would be able to match Victor and certainly push him, but I think, well, like Becky and I covered it earlier in the year, the 7-day record he did. I think I can't remember if we said it out loud on the podcast, but we certainly had a chat about it. I was like, I said, I hope it doesn't, take too much out of Alex because it really did look like he got smashed by that. And
He looked completely ruined at the end of
yeah,
it. And this was it March or April?
March. It's quite close, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, I think, well, I might have even chatted to you about it as well, Justinas. I think we said it's kind of either going to make him absolutely fly or he's going to pay for it. And I suspect, well, not only that, but a couple of other issues when he did Unbound XL and got third, which sounded like it was a pretty tough ride or walk with all the mud and stuff. And then he had bike issues, like he didn't get his bike till I think it was like 5 or 6 p.m. the night before the race.
mm,
So his bike, because obviously he's riding for the Canyon team now, I think he went down to Unbound XL, must have gone down with his gravel bike and shipped his Divide bike with some of his gear straight to Calgary.
mm,
But it got stuck in customs. So I think basically he didn't have a bike to ride. I think he then went from Kansas to Canada without a bike, just hand luggage, essentially. So he didn't have to lug that around. And then didn't have a bike for 2 weeks beforehand. And then got the bike the night before, jumped on it and started Tour Divide. And funnily enough, I think he was a bit off the pace and has been struggling. And I also think it's pretty fair to say Alex is a guy that likes to be up at the front of races. He's a racer. He wants to be winning. And I think he's probably just realised that this year has caught up with him. He's not got the sort of form he wanted. And he doesn't want to hate it because it can be hard to push and do the race pace when you're not in it and not enjoying it. So I think it's probably a smart move for him.
Yeah, especially as he's doing the Triple Crown Challenge, so he'll be at Colorado Trail and Arizona Trail later in the year. So I presume he was going for the Triple Crown Challenge record, which I suspect is now off the cards because you
Not
lose.
necessarily.
Exactly. Don't write it. I mean,
Anything can happen, can't it, Justinas? I mean, look what happened to you in
yeah,
Colorado.
exactly.
The Tour
There's,
Divide being the
uh,
longest of the Triple Crown, do you think it's fair to say it's the one that you can kind of gain or lose the most time on?
I guess so, yeah, in a way. And it's even though it's the longest, but it's the most foreseeable in a way. Like technically, you still can ruin your bike, as we saw Seb doing it and some other guys having some mechanical issues. But in Colorado or Arizona, it's easier to do that, or that the chances are way higher because you are on a single track a lot of the time. And but the thing is, like, Colorado comes in quite quickly after the divide, so it's already mid-August. You're lining, and is it? Yeah, I think now it's 2 years, so they're gonna be lining from Denver to and gonna go down to Durango. So that's, as they say, the harder way to do it.
Is that the way
There's
you did it when you went?
I did the same, yeah.
And
There's a
how
bit
did you feel
more.
when you backed it up after Tour Divide? Because that was the year you set the FKT on Divide,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
but that was not on the plan, you know. I didn't plan to go to Colorado when I was doing the
Don't plan
divide.
anything, Justinas. It shouldn't be a surprise.
And I had a bright midnight in between, and I got my Colorado bike halfway during the bright midnight and had a couple of the riding sessions on it, and flew to Denver. That was basically it. But like, yeah, I didn't had the pressure. I didn't announce it, like months and weeks ahead. So I only jumped on that train, on the Triple Crown train, and I was just taking one race at a time. So I think it's a bit easier on your mind when you do it that way. And
Well, Alex
yeah,
is maybe taking pressure off for that as well now. So it might be a good
yeah,
thing.
exactly. And well, it's a beautiful route to see. So yeah, some highlights to look forward to. Brush Mountain Lodge, man. If he's gonna get there, he'll get
You enjoyed it.
he'll get the soul back, I guess. I'm pretty sure they're gonna take good care in there.
Yeah. And also, Alex, I think he'll be using this as a recce as well. I don't think we've seen the last of Alex McCormack on the Tour Divide. So
I don't think so either.
yeah, I think he'll be back. I think. So yeah, shame to see Alex kind of. Well, he's not even dropped out, has he? Just sort of,
No.
not really pushing for a result as such. But
Yeah.
I still would be surprised if he finishes in the top 10, even if he goes at
Exactly.
that
He
pace.
might need a day or two, to get the restart and back on the pedals.
Alex is world class. Let's not forget. So he's one of the strongest guys there. So we'll see. Another rider we talked about in our preview, Karen Pocock. She she was riding in second position, wasn't she, in the sort of the women's race? But it sounds like she's been battling a bit of a knee injury, and I think a bit like Alex, she's basically said, "Well, I'm dipping out of going all in for the race. I'm going to look after my body and try and recover it a bit and see if she can carry on." So yeah, she's kind of dropped out. Or dropped off the front of the leaderboard. But there's a pretty big gap now. I mean, Megan's, like we said, absolutely flying. So the top three in the women's race. So Megan Hakkinen, she's in first place at the moment. She's done 980 miles. And then we've got two riders fairly close together. So Alyssa Secreto and Torin Lachman in second and third, but they're at 678 miles and 669 miles. So although even I think Victor's getting a lot of the headlines, but I think Megan needs a big shout out because she's doing a hell of a ride, isn't she?
Sitting top
Really
10
strong ride.
overall is brilliant.
Yeah, and she's looking strong as well. So heard a few updates on the kind of daily updates I've been doing and voice notes, and she just seems in control. So I think there's. I mean, I think Megan could be pushing the top 5 overall by the end. I wouldn't be at all surprised. She is looking super in control. So yeah, really exciting there. Well, I think next probably you touched on talking to people who are kind of not in the race that we talked about. Seb Brewer, he ended up scratching in the first day, didn't he? I felt really sorry for Seb actually. Do you want to tell us what
Yeah.
happened, Justinas?
No, I don't know much. I just imagine exactly what was the stream he was crossing and crashed. At least that's what I read, I guess, from his update.
Yeah, he said he was
So
crossing a stream and made a mistake,
yeah,
and his bike fell, and it fell
and
like the rear stay on a
and
rock and just snapped the rear stay.
I'm pretty sure I know the stream very well. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
almost crashed in the same stream the first year I was doing the divide. So I think it's red eyes, like when you're very much focused. You just did the Coco Claims. You were hiked for at least a good half an hour. And then you get back on the bike and you want to make back the time, and that stream comes at a quite steep downhill. And it's like meter and a half wide. But it's deep. It's quite deep, and it's easy to get your front wheel stuck there, and you just end up flying over the bars, and then the bike lands. And in his case, I get the bike landed in very very unsuccessful way.
yeah. I
So
really felt for Seb actually. I mean, he's had a bit of a rough time this year because he broke was it his collarbone or his elbow or something not
yeah,
that long ago as well in the run up. So
Mm.
I
It's a
guess
long
his
way to
luck's out.
go to not make it
Yeah,
through the first few days as well.
exactly. I was even thinking, like, get a new bike, man. Like,
yeah,
it's like what you gonna lose like one day? It's
Yeah. I have thought that with sponsored riders, because I think this is just, I've never had a sponsored bike, so I don't know, but if you haven't paid for the bike and you know that you could get a free bike or a free wheel at home, could you splash out on a new bike mid-race? Like we saw Molly Weaver at the Highland Trail decked her rim on the first day, or so, I think, and
yeah.
I think I would have just gone and bought a new wheel, because when I got home I'd have to buy a new wheel anyway. But if you know that you don't have to pay for a wheel when you get home, you might not even consider buying a wheel mid-race.
I guess it depends how much you want to race, doesn't it?
mm,
If Seb had already had a bit of a rough run up and wasn't his head wasn't in it potentially, then yeah, maybe it's good excuse to go home and lick your wounds and come back again another day. But at that stage, you could have got back to sort of Canmore or Banff fairly easily and got something. But yeah, man, it must be a mentally hard as well to get going again after that. But well, I don't know. I suppose Justinas is the person to answer these questions. You've done just that, haven't you?
I've
The
done
whip
many
smasher.
times. Like, I've been far behind and managed to climb back up again. But it's exactly as you said. Like, it's how much you want it. It's I don't kind of say that Seb didn't want that bad enough, because he traveled well from far, and he definitely wanted to get this done and ride through and cross the continent. And so it's difficult to say what was in his head. And it, like, it's also, it gets dark around you when just things happen in such successful, like in success. Like, you had the collarbone breaking, and then you came back from that one, and it's just like, you are whoever you are limited on how many times you can come back from a setback. So yeah, I as I said, like, I got a message from him asking about the Bright Midnight, so he might be looking for a redemption pretty
Yeah,
soon. So I'm pretty sure he has a good form, So if he's
definitely. And
coming, that's
Seb, I think, is one of the classiest riders out there on his day. He just looks like he's made to ride a bike. So again, hopefully we'll see him at the Divide one day, because he's someone that could really push that. So we should probably, we should cover single speed and also kind of the. There's a nice little fight for the podium, regardless. So let's start with single speed, and I think it's probably. I mean, we've talked about Megan and Victor on record pace, but we've actually so Felix Laberge is leading the single speed category, and he's just flying as well. Like the other day, he was just is riding just behind Megan at the moment. And the other day they were both on Mike Hall's pace. Like imagine that in the single speed.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it goes to show just how fast it is this year. You know, and how strong Felix is as well. I talked about earlier in the daily update, the gearing. I mean, probably this is just going to turn everyone off. I can see Becky's eyes glazing over already. But he's running like 34.18, which is a fairly big gear for single speed. But I guess it's like a gamble, isn't it? You pick your gear at the start, and so far it's been really, really fast, and I think is really benefiting from that. And he's running a bigger gear than the other guys. So Bailey Newbury is second, 32.7. He's on a 32.17, and Alex Kowalski's in a 30.17. I just don't think it's any coincidence that that's also the order of position as well. So yeah, pushing the big gears like we talked about with Victor, as long as your knees can hack it, seems to be the way forward in these conditions. But if it gets muddy, that's going to be heavy to turn over, isn't it? So we'll see how that kind of turns out. But yeah, Felix is in the top 10 overall, and then we've had a nice little battle for those podium spots. I mean, it's about the only racing we're seeing really after Victor's just disappeared up the road on the first day, essentially. But Lawrence Ten Dam is in second. Angus Young is in third. He's kind of leapfrogging with David Chan, and yeah, him and Angus I'd imagine they're kind of in view of each other at the moment. So yeah, that's the kind of a little scrap for the podium at the moment. Lauren's he sent a voice note the other day. It's quite funny. I think he didn't check his tracker for 3 days, and then he overslept his alarm. He forgot to turn his alarm on and slept like 5 hours in, I think it was Butte, and then he or Helena, I think it was, and then he checked the tracker and he realized that he'd been stopping way more than everyone else. I think that was a bit of a kick up the arse for him, because since that point he's kind of dropped the others, and he's closed in a little bit on Victor, but I mean that's a relative term, isn't it, Becky? At the moment, the gap's so big.
That's good, because he was coming for your King of Chaos record there, Justinas, but I'm glad he's cleaned himself up a bit.
Yeah, he's making me proud again. No, but Lorenz. Sorry.
I was just saying there's some good updates on his social media. He must have someone at home who weirdly looks just like him, because they've got.
Brother. Pretty sure it is.
And yeah, they're doing some good updates.
No, but like Lorenz is, he has 50 miles on the guys behind. Javier is doing not too bad too. He's up there, and Miko is too. So I guess like it's just like everything can happen, you know, like one storm and everything can be restarted again. And
even
whatever.
other things that Angus is really suffering with his chest the other day. Like he sounded horrendous, with a chest infection. David, he put up a post last night, this morning when I saw it, and he crashed. So he cut his knee up. You know, silly stuff can happen. So I know we're talking about Victor like he's already won it, but anything can happen. You know, it doesn't take much concentration when you're tired, you know, going down a pass to crash. And
but David was sleeping way less than anyone else, no? He was living on like 2-3 hours a night, while Angus and Lorenz and Javier, they're getting a lot more.
Yeah, and I think that's the modern way of racing. I mean, when I was watching Mike Hall in those early days, it was still glorifying like 2 hours sleep. I think Mike didn't sleep more than 2-3 hours. Well, I don't think he slept more than 2 hours. I think in New Mexico the whole of the last way.
Exactly. If I remember, if the stories are right, so I think his first stop was in Lincoln.
Yeah, or maybe even Helena.
Imagine that.
World away.
Starting from Bath and stopping for first time to sleep in Lincoln.
That's crazy. That's what people did. I mean, look at Sofian. I mean, he kind of took that to heart, didn't he? Like, I'm not going to sleep for 3 days, get a gap, and then do what I've got to do. But yeah, times are changing, and like we said, sort of at the start of the podcast, Victor's got the he's got that modern, I guess, mentality. I mean, he doesn't know any different. He didn't grow up watching Mike Hall. Probably didn't even watch Sofian, you know.
Mm,
He's only probably seen Lachlan do his attempt, and you know, it's like, well, that's what you do. You sleep in
that's
hotels,
the way.
and
Exactly.
it seems
And
to be
it
the
works
way.
for him. He's very much riding to his strengths, being so fast. If you
There is that
optimize
as
on the
well.
like high rest, high speed technique, then
It
yeah,
is a good way to do it. I remember in 2019, I felt I was being soft because I just happened to be like in hotels all the time, just because I was there. And I felt like I wasn't doing it properly because I wasn't sleeping out in the dirt and I was having showers and stuff. But in hindsight, it was probably a really good way to do it. And I think that's been proven. I mean, I guess these races are turning more into races and less into massive adventures, at least at the front anyway, because the mid pack, you know, that's where it's really at in terms of people just out for a massive adventure, isn't it? I think. And, you know, when you're going to mid pack speed, sometimes you are going to take 2 days to get between resupply, whereas Victor's doing it in one. You know, it's going twice the speed as a mid pack. That's insane, isn't it?
Exactly.
So yeah,
So
game's
I
changing.
guess I don't know how does it feel, or like, yeah, the feeling when you check the track leaders and you see Victor. It's insane.
I know. Well, it's been a while since I've done it, so I've kind of not got that recent, you know, memory. But
yeah. I imagine Lawrence doesn't zoom out enough.
yeah, he still thinks he's winning.
He only sees himself on the map now, so he has a good time. He enjoys it.
I will say though, it does make it harder to do daily updates when Victor's just basically had a massive lead from the start, and it's probably not as good as spectator sport. And I think the best ones were like the battles between you and Uber, Justinas, and like when Jens was there, and you know the race was close and changing, and bad weather. I mean, bad weather's definitely good for views. I'll tell you that much. It's a bit too boring at the moment, you know.
I know. At the moment now, it's just like, well, can you look? You can look at the Robin and Robin's dot, the virtual Robin's dot, and the Victor. So I'm happy that they put the Robin's dot on the map, so I don't look that bad.
You're a good reference point there, Justinas, and it's good to have that
Soon
point.
I'm gonna be a good reference point for the mid pack. That's what's gonna be good for. So this is how it's all turning out now. But no, I don't know. Me and Robin might disappear from the map after this year. So maybe that's gonna clean up something a bit, because now it's a bit crowded on that map, if you ask
Yeah,
me.
there's a lot of dots, isn't there? But yeah,
It's just like,
we'll see. I guess we'll have to start
ridiculous.
getting on to Weather Watch. Have you heard anything about the south at the moment in terms of fires and stuff, Justinas? I know you've got a few people you know down that
Yeah,
way.
I have some friends around, so
Everyone
I've
knows
heard
you on the
about.
Tour Divide route.
Yeah, so there's something happening. Yeah, south from, oh no, north from Cuba. Just between
Big
Cuba and
fire.
Pi Town. So, but it's still in control and might not get any bigger or worse.
Yeah.
By
So
the
I guess the danger is
time
a reroute, which would make any record time unofficial, which is kind of where we were with Robin last year.
I would add the third dot on the map for the next year.
Yeah.
It's just what the map needs.
Exactly, but let's bring more now. Let's make it more. No, but with all seriousness, no, it's the what we talked about, the divide. You know, like the dry divide is the or like this fast divide is the only problem you have to deal with is the fires. So New Mexico, yeah, I hope it stays calm.
Yeah, but then you could get storms as well. It can be a bit unpredictable. I've never experienced storms in New Mexico, but you got stuck. Didn't you get stuck by Silver
I
City?
I
Hit by the
was I
rain?
was I was just ahead of that one, and Uber
Uber,
got it.
didn't he? Yeah,
Mm,
but Ulrich lost like 3 or 4 hours, didn't he? So
more.
things
He
can
lost.
change.
He lost more. He lost 12. I think he slept. He had
12.
to sleep under the tree to wait out before the road start to dry out, and it was rideable again.
Yeah.
But and
So
also
I
these
guess
storms, the storm can have a double clash kind of. It also can make the road unrideable, but the lightning can cause a fire. So
yeah.
it can be it's but Yes, let's not jinx it.
It's never over till it's over, and I think, well, I think we all probably know that that is the case. So yeah, we're talking about Victor 5 days in and his massive lead and how quick he's going, but it is a Tour Divide, and I think kind of a few people have asked me, the UK guys like Alex and Angus, and just asked me if I had any advice. I said, well, look, you're not in control. The Tour Divide is in control of you, and whatever happens, happens. And so far, it's been kind, but it is a Tour Divide, so anything can happen. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But at the moment, yeah, Victor's looking pretty good, isn't he?
Flying.
He is flying. So yeah, I suppose that's probably a good time to leave it. And yeah, thank you, Justinas, for joining us again. Really good having your kind of, shall I say, expertise? Maybe experience is a better term.
I'm not an expert. I just have experience.
And Becky, thanks as always. And well, it probably won't be too long till we're back again. We'll have another pod when the Tour Divide's finished, and we'll be looking forward to some other races. Do you know of any other races coming up next month, Justinas?
There's one here in Norway, or two here in Norway actually.
Two, yeah.
One that I like, the other one that I did, and not a big fan.
Yeah, we'll have a preview of the Bright Midnight coming up.
Yeah,
probably TCR as well, which I'll be at. So yeah, looking forward to riding past your house, Justinas.
I'll be waving. Trust me.
So with that, I'll say thanks, and yeah, thanks for listening, and catch you in the next one.